Self-discipline is the only path out of mediocrity. If I told you that the life you are living right now is not limited by money, not limited by opportunity, not limited by talent, education, or intelligence, but by one single weakness you tolerate every day, would you listen carefully? Because the difference between average and extraordinary is not luck. It is not background. It is not connections. It is not even knowledge. It is self-discipline. And here is the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Without self-discipline, you will stay average. Not because you are incapable of more. Not because you do not deserve more. But because you refuse to control the one thing that determines everything yourself. The fundamental principle of success, stay with me. What you are about to understand is not motivational noise. It is a principle that governs success in every area of life. Emotional control determines financial control. The world does not reward you for your intentions. It rewards you for your execution. The marketplace does not pay you for wanting success. It pays you for producing value consistently. And consistency is impossible without discipline. Desire is emotional. Discipline is structural. Desire says you want wealth. Discipline builds the habits that create it. Desire says you want freedom. Discipline controls spending, invests intelligence, and develops high income skills. Desire dreams about a better future. Discipline works on it when no one is watching. Most people operate emotionally. A disciplined person operates intentionally. The emotional person wakes up and checks their phone immediately. The disciplined person wakes up and checks their goals. The emotional person spends money based on how they feel in the moment. The disciplined person spends according to a plan. The emotional person works hard when motivated and disappears when discouraged. The disciplined person works according to schedule, regardless of mood. Why most people remain average? This is why most people remain average. Not because they lack ambition, but because they lack control over impulses. You do not fail because you do not know what to do. You fail because you do not do what you already know. You know you should save more. You know you should invest. You know you should study. You know you should improve your skills. You know you should protect your time. But knowing is emotional. Doing is discipline. The foundation of wealth is not intelligence. It is behavior. Financial growth is not primarily a money problem. It is a decision problem. A person without emotional control increases income and increases lifestyle at the same rate. Every raise becomes a reason to spend more. Every bonus becomes an excuse for indulgence. They reward themselves impulsively. They consume to escape boredom. They buy to impress. Emotional spending builds debt. Disciplined investing builds assets. A disciplined individual increases income and increases ownership. They delay gratification. They ask different questions. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" they ask, "Does this move me closer to financial independence?" They understand that comfort today can sabotage freedom tomorrow. They understand that small daily financial decisions compound into massive long-term consequences. Emotion is temporary. Decisions are permanent. Feelings fluctuate. Structure remains. When you allow emotion to guide financial decision, you build instability. When you allow discipline to guide financial decision, you build power. Structure. The visible manifestation of discipline, self-discipline, begins in the mind, but it reveals itself in your daily structure. You cannot claim discipline if your life has no system. Structure is the visible form of discipline. A disciplined person does not wake up asking what they feel like doing. They follow a predefined plan. They have a consistent wake-up time. They schedule deep work. They dedicate time to learning. They exercise deliberately. They review finances weekly. They reflect daily. These are not random acts of motivation. They are commitments. Average people live reactively. They respond to notifications, messages, and circumstances. Disciplined people live proactively. They respond to priorities. They decide in advance what matters and protect it. Time is life converted into results. Every wasted hour is future income sacrifice. Every distracted day is potential loss. Think about the compounding effect of disciplined hours. An hour studying sales, an hour improving communication, an hour understanding marketing, an hour learning about investing. These hours do not disappear. They accumulate. They multiply your earning capacity. They increase your confidence. They expand your opportunities. Now compare that with emotional hours. Scrolling endlessly, complaining about circumstances, comparing your life to others, consuming entertainment without limit. Those hours evaporate. They produce nothing. One path compounds, the other decays. Emotional mastery as a prerequisite for wealth. If you cannot master your moods, you cannot master money. Money amplifies who you already are. If you lack discipline with little, You will lack discipline with more. Wealth does not fix internal weakness. It exposes it. Self-discipline prepares you for success before success arrives. It transforms you into someone capable of handling growth. Imagine two individuals earning the same salary. One operates emotionally. Their mornings are inconsistent. Their goals are unclear. Their spending is reactive. They work hard occasionally but lack structure. The other operates with discipline. They wake up consistently. They review goals daily. They track expenses. They automate savings. They invest monthly. They develop skills continuously. 5 years later, the gap between them is massive. Not because of intelligence, because of control. Discipline removes randomness. Randomness destroys progress. Wealth requires predictability. Predictable savings, predictable investment, predictable improvement, predictable effort. Discipline is not suppression, it is direction. Self-discipline is not suppression, it is direction. You will feel fear, you will feel doubt, you will feel fatigue, you will feel temptation. Discipline does not eliminate these emotions, it overrides them with decision. When fear says avoid investing, discipline says study and decide logically. When fatigue says skip the workout, discipline says move anyway. When doubt says you are not ready, discipline says readiness is built through action. The disciplined mind asks one powerful question: what does my goal require? Not what do I feel like doing? Not what is comfortable? Not what is convenient? What does the goal require? Motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls. Discipline is dependable. It is built on repetition, and repetition builds identity. Every time you act against impulse, you reinforce a stronger self-image. When you wake up early despite discomfort, you prove to yourself that you are in control. When you invest instead of overspend, you prove that you value the future. When you focus instead of procrastinate, you prove that you are serious about growth. Identity compounds faster than money. Once you see yourself as disciplined, your standards shift. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop making excuses. You start acting in alignment with who you believe you are. Discipline is freedom disguised as structure. Discipline is freedom disguised as structure. The undisciplined mind believes routine is restrictive. In reality, chaos is restrictive. Freedom comes from options. Options require capital. Capital requires income. Income growth requires skill. Skill requires repetition. Repetition requires discipline. There is no shortcut. There is no secret formula. There is no hack that replaces daily execution. Wake up at a consistent time. Define 3 high-impact tasks. Complete them before distraction. Track expenses weekly. Automate investments. Study daily. Reflect nightly. Improve incrementally. Repeat relentlessly. Most people search for excitement. Success is built on consistency. The market rewards reliability. Employers reward reliability. Clients reward reliability. Investments reward consistency. Reliability is discipline applied over time. The power of 12-month transformation. Imagine 12 months of structured living, 12 months of controlled spending, 12 months of focused learning, 12 months of deliberate investing, 12 months of emotional restraint. The person you would become would not resemble who you are today. Discipline transforms identity first, results second. The average person waits to feel confident before acting. The disciplined person acts until confidence arrives. The average person waits for clarity. The disciplined person creates clarity through movement. The average person reacts to circumstances. The disciplined person shapes them. Difficulty is temporary. Regret lingers. You have already experienced the consequences of undisciplined decision. Financial stress. Inconsistent progress. Missed opportunities. Now imagine the opposite. Calm because you have savings. Confidence because you have competence. Clarity because you have structure. Momentum because you execute daily. This is not fantasy. It is cause and effect. Control inputs and outputs follow. Control habits and results follow. Control emotions and wealth follows. Your 30-day challenge if you are still here. You are not satisfied with average. So here is your challenge. For the next 30 days, choose structure over emotion. When you feel lazy, execute anyway. When you feel tempted, pause and evaluate. When you feel uncertain, seek knowledge. When you feel distracted, return to focus. Do not wait for a perfect moment. Discipline creates the moment. You are not trapped by your current income. You are not trapped by your past mistakes. You are not trapped by your environment. You are limited only by the level of control you exercise over your own mind. Master your emotions. Structure your days. Invest in your growth. Repeat without drama. Repeat without negotiation. Repeat until discipline becomes identity. Self-discipline is self-respect demonstrated daily in the end. Self-discipline is self-respect demonstrated daily. It is proof that your future matters more than temporary comfort. It is evidence that you are willing to endure short-term discomfort for long-term power. Now decide. Will you continue reacting to feelings, or will you lead yourself with intention? Because once you lead yourself, everything changes. Opportunities expand. Income increases. Confidence strengthens. Stability replaces chaos. Wealth is not reserved for the lucky. It is earned by the consistent. Freedom is not granted to the emotional. It is built by the disciplined. The life you want is not blocked by the world. It is blocked by hesitation, distraction, and lack of control. Take ownership. Control your schedule. Control your spending. Control your reactions. Control your focus. When you control these, you control your trajectory. The decision is daily, hourly, moment to moment. The decision is not theoretical. It is daily. It is hourly. It is moment to moment. And every disciplined decision strengthens you. Every controlled response builds power. Every structured day builds momentum. Without self-discipline, you stay average. With self-discipline, average becomes impossible. The transformation begins internally, but it becomes visible externally. Income changes. Habits change. Relationships change. Opportunities change. You do not need more motivation. You need more structure. You do not need more inspiration. You need more repetition. You do not need a different dream. You need stronger discipline. And once you commit to disciplined growth, your life expands beyond anything average could ever offer. This is not hype. It is ownership. This is not wishful thinking. It is responsibility. And the moment you take responsibility for your discipline, you stop being average. You become intentional. You become focused. You become reliable. You become powerful. The next version of your life is waiting on one decision. Control yourself. Once you do that consistently, nothing else can keep you average. The 5 pillars of transformative discipline to make this knowledge truly actionable. Let us explore the 5 fundamental pillars that support a disciplined and extraordinary life. These are not abstract concepts, but practical tools you can implement immediately to begin your transformation today. Pillar 1. Morning control. The first hour defines the entire day. The way you start your day determines how you live your life. The average person wakes up without planning, immediately grabs their phone, dives into notification, emails, and social media, allowing the external world to dictate their emotional state before even getting out of bed. This is surrendering control before the battle begins. The disciplined person protects the first hour as sacred territory. They wake up at the same time every day, regardless of weekends or holidays, because consistency builds identity. The first action is not checking the phone, but reviewing written goals, a brief reflection on the previous day, visualizing the day ahead, engaging in physical practice, whether exercise, stretching, or walking. This hour invested in yourself creates momentum that carries the entire day. Consider this: if you waste the first hour of the day in distraction, you have lost 4% of your waking hours before you even start. Do this every day, and you waste 15 entire days per year. But if you invest that hour in growth, you gain the equivalent of 15 extra days of production annually. The difference between these 2 paths over a decade is astronomical. Pillar 2. Financial systems automation is program discipline. Most people treat finance as something to be solved eventually. They earn, spend what they want, and save what is left. The problem is that nothing is ever left. This approach guarantees perpetual financial mediocrity because it depends on constant willpower, and willpower is a limited resource that depletes. The disciplined person builds systems that remove emotional decisions from the equation. They automate transfers to savings on payday before the money touches the checking account. They schedule monthly investments that happen without manual intervention. They establish clear limits for spending categories and monitor them weekly. They review the entire financial situation on the same day and time every week. Here is the power of system. They convert discipline into infrastructure. You do not have to decide to invest every time you receive money. The system decides for you, based on who you decide it to be. You do not have to resist impulse spending temptations. The money is not available to be spent. Systems eliminate internal negotiation, and internal negotiation is where discipline dies. Consider 2 people earning $5,000 per month. The first has no system, spends emotionally, and occasionally saves to $100 when they feel like it. The second automates $1,000 to investments before seeing the money. In 10 years, assuming an average 8% return, the first person has perhaps $30,000 saved irregularly. The second has over $180,000 plus compound growth. The difference is not talent or luck. It is system. Pillar 3. Continuous learning skill is the most valuable asset. Average people stop learning when formal education ends. They believe they know enough, or that learning is for the young, or that they are too busy with life. This mindset guarantees obsolescence. The world changes exponentially. Skills that were valuable 5 years ago may be irrelevant today. If you are not growing, you are dying professionally. The disciplined person dedicates non-negotiable time to learning every day. Not when they feel like it, not when they have free time. Every day, at the same time, for a specific duration. It might be 30 minutes, it might be 2 hours. What matters is not the initial duration, but absolute consistency. They study skills that increase market value: sales, marketing, communication, leadership, technology, investing, human psychology. Here is the powerful mathematic. 30 minutes of daily focused learning equals 182 hours per year. That is more than 4 weeks of full-time work dedicated exclusively to your development. Do this for 5 years and you have accumulated 910 hours of intentional growth. You will not be the same person. You literally cannot be average because you will have built capabilities that average people simply do not possess. And remember, learning is not just consuming content. It is practical application. Reading about sales does not make you a salesperson. Practicing sales conversations repeatedly makes you a salesperson. The disciplined person does not just study. They implement immediately what they learn. Study in the morning, apply during the day, reflect at night on what worked and what did not. This cycle of learning, action, reflection accelerates growth exponentially. Pillar 4. Physical health energy is the foundation of everything. You cannot execute discipline consistently with a neglected body. Mental energy requires physical energy. Focus requires health. Emotional resilience requires physical well-being. Yet the average person treats the body as secondary. They eat what is convenient. They move only when necessary. They sleep when time is left. This neglect creates a vicious cycle. Low energy leads to poor productivity, which leads to stress, which leads to worse health choices. The disciplined person understands that health is not vanity. It is performance infrastructure. They exercise not when motivated, but according to a fixed schedule. 3 times per week minimum, 6 times ideally. It does not need to be intense. It needs to be consistent. A 30-minute walk is infinitely more valuable than grandiose gym plans that never happen. Nutrition follows the same principle. The disciplined person does not follow radical diets that collapse within weeks. They establish sustainable patterns. Meals prepared in advance eliminate impulsive decision. Adequate protein maintains satiety. Consistent hydration maintains cognitive performance. These are not heroic actions. They are predictable choices repeated infinitely. And sleep, the most neglected asset in modern society. Average people sacrifice sleep for worthless entertainment. They stay up late watching content they will not remember tomorrow. The disciplined person protects sleep as investment. 7 to 8 hours, non-negotiable. Consistent bedtime and wake time, even on weekends. Because quality of life is not measured by how much entertainment you consume, but by how present and energized you are for the things that truly matter. Pillar 5. Intentional relationships. You become the average of your 5 closest people. Average people maintain relationships by inertia. Friendships that had no value. Social circles that drain energy. Conversations that eternally revolve around complaints, gossip, and mediocrity. They do not realize that relationships shape identity. If you spend time with people who have no goals, you will absorb that lack of direction. If you spend time with people who justify mediocrity, you will normalize your own mediocrity. The disciplined person is selective about whom they spend time with. This is not arrogant. It is protection of energy and vision. They actively seek people who are more disciplined, more successful, more focused. Not to impress them, but to learn from them, to be elevated by the group standard. If you are the most successful person in your circle, you do not have a growth circle, you have a stagnation circle. This requires brutal courage. It means distancing yourself from people you have known for years if they are not aligned with your direction. It means investing time in building new relationships with people who are where you want to be. It means having conversations about goals, strategies, growth, execution, not about drama, complaints, or distraction. And remember, relationships are bidirectional. You also need to add value. The disciplined person does not just seek mentors and high-caliber people. They become someone other disciplined people want around. How? By being reliable, executing what they promise, showing up consistently, sharing knowledge generously, celebrating others' victories genuinely. When you operate this way, you attract people operating at the same level. The true cost of indiscipline, let us be absolutely clear about what is at stake. Indiscipline is not neutral. It is not simply the absence of progress. It is active regression disguised as normalcy. Every undisciplined day not only fails to move you forward, it actively pushes you backward while the world around you advances. Think about the real cost. Every wasted morning is a momentum opportunity lost forever. Every impulsive purchase is not just money leaving. It is future compound growth that will never happen. Every day without learning is a day you become proportionally less relevant in a market that evolves exponentially. Every skipped workout is not just health loss today. It is energy and mental clarity you will not have for important decisions tomorrow. But the most devastating cost is psychological. Every promise broken to yourself, every internal negotiation where you surrender to weakness, every time you know what you should do but choose comfort, you are sending a powerful message to your subconscious. You are not reliable. Your words have no weight. Your goals are not serious. And this message accumulated over years creates a fundamental identity of someone not execute, of someone who dreams but does not build, of someone who wants but does not act. This is the true prison of indiscipline. It is not just about not having money or not having success. It is about losing respect for yourself. It is waking up knowing you will not do what you plan to do. It is going to sleep knowing you wasted another day. It is living in constant cognitive dissonance between who you say you want to be and who you actually are through your action. This dissonance is constant psychological exhaustion. Transformation begins with one non-negotiable decision. We arrive at the moment of truth. You have read this far because something in you recognizes that mediocrity is no longer acceptable. But recognition without action is just intellectual entertainment. Real transformation requires a line in the sand, a moment where you decide, with absolute clarity and no reservation, that the undisciplined version of you died, that there is no more negotiation, that excuses are over, that a new era of relentless execution has begun. This decision does not need to be dramatic. It does not need to be announced. It does not need witnesses. But it must be absolute. It must be the dividing line between before and after. And it must be demonstrated through immediate action. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Now, here is your first concrete step. Before sleeping tonight, write 3 non-negotiable actions for tomorrow. Not 10. Not 20. 3 actions that, if completed, will make tomorrow objectively better than today. And tomorrow, regardless of how you feel, you will execute these 3 actions before doing anything else. No exceptions, no negotiation. After you complete these 3 actions, you will have tangible proof that you are capable of control. This proof is more valuable than motivation, because motivation evaporates, but proof remains. And when you accumulate proof day after day, week after week, you do not just change results. You fundamentally rebuild identity. You empirically become someone different. The path ahead, no return. Only advancement. Understand this clearly. The path of discipline does not get easier. You become stronger. Temptations do not diminish. Your capacity to resist them increases. Challenges do not disappear. Your competence to navigate them develops. This is a crucial distinction. Average people wait for life to become easier. Disciplined people become more capable. And here is the liberating truth. After a few months of consistent execution, something extraordinary happens. Discipline stops feeling like sacrifice and starts feeling like identity. You do not wake up thinking, I should do this. You wake up thinking, this is what I do. The transition from external obligation to internal identity is the moment where mediocrity becomes literally impossible. Because you are no longer trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. This is not semantic. It is fundamental transformation of who you are at a deep level. So as you close this document, understand that you are at a crossroad. One path continues exactly as your life has been. Knowledge without action, intention without execution, dreams without construction. This path is comfortable, familiar, and guarantees that 5 years from now, you will be essentially in place, perhaps with more accumulated regrets. The other path begins with one action, one demonstrated decision. One day fully executed, then another, and another. This path is not comfortable, but it leads to a place where the future version of you will look back with profound gratitude for the courage you demonstrated today. The choice has always been yours, and it always will be. But now, you cannot claim ignorance. You know what separates mediocrity from excellence. You know the cost of indiscipline. You know the power of consistent action. All that remains is to decide who you will be, and then prove that decision through daily, relentless, and non-negotiable action. The world is waiting for the best version of you, but that version only emerges through discipline. Start now, execute today, transform yourself daily, and watch as mediocrity becomes a distant memory of who you used to be.